Iowa is perhaps a microcosm for the problems facing Joe Biden that Blake just talked about. This once purple state has turned deep red. It wasn't too long ago that Barack Obama and Joe Biden carried this state. That was 2008. Now, Democrats are hard to find. The only Democrat to hold statewide office is State Auditor Rob Sand, which won his last election by less than half a percentage point. He's the author of the book, The Winning Ticket, and is with us now. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
I said on Instagram earlier, I said you were the most interesting guest of the evening. And I mean that. What is it that you are picking up on and has allowed you to be successful in a state that is moving red?
I would, although a lot of election results have moved to the Republican column, I would put a different picture on it. I come from Northeast Iowa. I grew up in a small town of about 7,000 people. You got to drive an hour to get to a 4-lane highway. It's called Decorah. It is in the heart of the biggest Obama-Trump swing county area of the United States: Northeast Iowa, Southeast Minnesota, Southwest Wisconsin. And so I think that I understand those folks because that's where I grew up. That's who I am. And when people ask, how did Iowa change so quickly? I ask a different question. How are Barack Obama and Donald Trump the same? Right? A state doesn't change overnight, but these guys had one common thread between them, and they were people who promised change. They understood that the political status quo, that the political establishment isn't working for a lot of Americans, and they said that they were going to do something about it. And that was something that resonates with me. It's part of why I'm in the business that I'm in, and I think voters see that.
You heard Blake talk about how the strikes on the Houthis have made for some unusual bedfellows of the Matt Gaetzes and the Ro Khannas. And we're seeing that also in various other populist threads. But the area you're talking about, because I've spent time up there and I'm from Missouri, so there's some similarities there. There is a populist thread to those areas, but it's not that Matt Gaetz, Ro Khanna populist.
No, it's people who want Washington to work. It's people who want Washington to work for Americans, right? It's people who expect that, okay, you've been elected, now go do the job and represent all of us. Right? One of the decisions that I made, well, let me start earlier. When I ran in 2018 and in 2022, one of the things I talked about was that when I was an assistant attorney general, I prosecuted both Democrats and Republicans, right? When I got elected in 2018, the two people that I put in the two most senior positions in the auditing staff, our deputies, were an independent and a Republican, despite myself being a Democrat. And they were both people who had actually made campaign contributions to my opponent. I want people to work together, right? We're supposed to work together. And I think that is what people are looking for in this state.
Yeah, well, and in the country, if we want to extrapolate it out. This I thought was interesting, and this goes to what you were talking about. Earlier today, we got a poll from Gallup. The lowest percentage of Americans ever now identify themselves as members of the Democratic Party. A number of independents have gone up. What do you see? And look, this is going to be now Americans turning more and more independent. Democrats the lowest number ever, 27%. This election is going to turn on the people where you come from. What is it that the status quo, and I would put Joe Biden in that camp, what are they missing about connecting with that group of voters?
I think, to me, it's a question of having, oftentimes, and I'm not going to, this is just in general, having a positive vision, talking about what your positive vision is, working to bring people together. Right? One of the things that I think, if anyone were to ask me, what should the president's folks be doing, I'd say talk about the bipartisan infrastructure deal. Right? You had Chuck Grassley and Joe Biden working together, right, with a lot of people in both parties to pass an infrastructure deal when this country hasn't had one for, decades prior to that? I mean, it was about time that we got one done, and they did it. They got it. They worked together. They got it done. That's what I would be talking about.
I always think it's funny when you see Republicans showing up and touting those infrastructure packages that they brought.
They voted against.
Yeah, they voted against.
Yeah.
It's fun. Hey, it's good to see you. Thank you very much. We appreciate the time. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.